Most of us go through life in reaction mode. Something happens, and we respond. A problem pops up, we go and fix it. But then there's another way to operate. Some people, the strategists, they don't just see the move right in front of them. They see the ripple effect that move is going to cause 5 turns from now. And really getting a handle on that mindset, well, that's what this is all about.
And wow, this just nails the core difference, right? The reactor is always busy, constantly putting out fires, caught up in the immediate panic of the problem. But the strategist looks right past the flames. They're trying to understand the source, the intent, the whole system that creates the fire to begin with. One is playing defense. The other is playing a completely different game.
So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to deconstruct that psychology. We're going to unpack the mental tools that let strategists anticipate what's next, to see the architecture of what's happening right now so clearly that the future isn't some big mystery, it's just a logical consequence.
So, what's the biggest thing holding us back? Here's the thing. It's not about being smart or not. It's the very way our brains are hardwired. It's something we can call the trap of linear thinking.
Okay, so there's a name for this, right? Psychologists call it linear bias. Our brains literally evolved to understand simple, direct consequences. Touch the fire, you get burned. Eat the food, you feel full. And look, for our ancestors, that was a superpower for survival. But in our complex world today, the most important consequences, they're almost never immediate. They're delayed, they're hidden behind a whole series of other events. And I love this analogy because it just frames the whole problem perfectly. Tetris is a game of pure reaction. You just have to deal with whatever piece is falling right now to survive the moment. But chess is all about strategy. You might sacrifice a pawn, which is a clear loss right now, all to set up a checkmate 10 moves down the line. That's the key right there. Strategists are willing to lose the moment to win the decade.
Okay, so how do we actually break free from this linear trap? Well, the first tool is all about learning to see patterns. And the secret here comes straight from the world of chess grandmasters.
So, this secret weapon? It's a cognitive process called chunking. It's the reason a grandmaster can play like 20 games at once. They are not tracking hundreds of individual pieces. No way. Their brain has learned to group all those pieces into familiar patterns, or chunks. So they're not calculating every move, they're recognizing the bigger picture.
And here's what that looks like in practice. A novice looks at the board and is just overwhelmed by data. 32 separate pieces, each with its own set of rules. It's total chaos. But the master? The master sees relationships, they see defensive formations, they see offensive structures. They're reading the story of the board, not just the individual words.
And this applies directly to our lives, of course. So here's the takeaway for you. Start training yourself to stop looking at one-off events and start looking for the underlying structure. Is your boss always irritable the week before a quarterly report? That's a pattern. Does a friend consistently flake on plans at the last minute? That's a pattern. And once you see the pattern, you're not surprised by the behavior anymore. You can actually anticipate it.
All right, so once you start seeing patterns, you can unlock the next tool. And this one is arguably the most powerful weapon in the strategist's entire arsenal. It's all about mastering what's called second-order thinking.
So the crucial difference here is between the immediate result and all the consequences that come after. First-order thinking is super simple, right? I'm hungry. Hey, there's a donut. I'll eat it. Problem solved. For now. But second-order thinking asks, and then what? It sees the next step, the sugar crash, the fatigue, the terrible performance you're going to have in that important 2 p.m. meeting. It sees the whole chain reaction.
Okay, let's play this out in another way. Let's say you send a risky, emotionally charged text message. The immediate outcome, the first-order consequence, might be a quick reply, and you get that little hit of instant gratification. But the strategist plays the movie forward. They see the second-order outcome, the potential for a huge misunderstanding, the super awkward conversation you're now going to have tomorrow. They see the trap before they ever step into it.
And honestly, the key to this entire way of thinking boils down to one simple, ridiculously powerful question you have to ask yourself. Before you act, just pause and ask, and then what? And after you answer that, you have to ask it again, and then what? See, most people stop at that first answer. A strategist never does.
Okay, so let's say you're getting good at this. You're seeing patterns, you're asking, and then what? But there's still one enemy that can derail the entire thing and blind you completely. Your own emotions. And that brings us to our final tool, seeing with clarity. There's this old military concept called the fog of war, and it's basically about how impossible it is to think straight in the middle of a chaotic battle. And that's where this idea comes from. When things get chaotic and unpredictable, our emotions flare up. And when emotion takes over, rational, long-term strategy goes right out the window. I mean, just think about how this works in your own life. When you're anxious, what happens? You focus only on the threat, right? Your vision just narrows to that one negative possibility. Anger makes you want to act now, impulsively, without even thinking about the and then what. And hey, even good emotions like excitement can make you reckless, causing you to overlook really obvious risks.
So what do? How do you fight this? The solution is to practice detachment. The second you feel a strong emotion bubbling up, treat it like a big red stop sign. It's a signal to pause, step back, look at the situation like you're an outside consultant. View it as data, not drama. And then ask yourself, if I take my fear or my anger or my excitement out of this equation, what is the most logical, strategic move on the board?
You see, when you pull all of this together, it comes down to a fundamental shift in how you see the world. Being a strategist isn't some magic trick. It's not about having a crystal ball. It's about paying deep attention and understanding that every single move you make, every email you send, every word you say, it doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It actually changes the board. It creates a new reality. So I guess the final question I want to leave you with is this. In your career, in your relationships, in your life, are you just reacting to the piece that was moved in front of you? Are you playing just for the turn? Or are you taking a step back, seeing the patterns, asking and then what, and playing for the entire game? The choice, as always, is yours.